Anyway, young guy, played the game, and he's excellent because, he can read what's going on and position himself, and if it's a foul, he knows if it's a foul or not because he's probably made that foul in his lifetime before.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying we should encourage players to become referees, I'm not saying that at all, but I think if you just sat reading a book and watching a refereeing video, how much do you really know?
I agree with that.
So.
I don't... USSF refs are beyond weak, but shouldn't we expect more from the FIFA-approved refs? Yes.
In a nutshell.
Yes. But any organization run by Sepp Blatter, oh wait, I probably shouldn't go into that direction.
I heard that Grant Wall is pulled out of that race.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Running for FIFA president. I was just seeing him on Twitter, like, pimping himself out all the time. No opinion?
I mean, it's funny, and it raises awareness.
Yeah.
And I did see an article that was saying the MLS was poised to become the number 4 sporting league in the U.S. and overtake soccer. I mean, overtake hockey, excuse me.
Really? It's a big shout.
So, in no particular order, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, and then hockey, which I can kind of see. But I think that's the labor stoppage has something to do with the reduced viewing of hockey, and now we're going to have a labor stoppage in football. I would love to see, if there is a labor stoppage, that the MLS really capitalized marketing-wise.
Right, because there's that void.
Right, I mean, because we have Sunday games anyway. Because actually coming up later today, we've got Vancouver and Houston, which here it is, 6 o'clock Central Time, would be... The NFL games would be over on a normal Sunday, and I know the schedules don't overlap, but at some point, let people know, hey, you know what, football's not coming back, but football is here.
I think that's a cool
idea. Find a way to
market.
Find a way to let people know.
Do you remember during the Super Bowl? No, just before the Super Bowl, there was a big game on back home, and they used the studio for ESPN to do that, and they kind of pimped it up. Did you watch the Super Bowl? And they kind of made a real big deal out of it because football was following.
Right.
But there was just some more excitement about it. I think that would be a really cool idea.
Just a thought.
Football's gone, but football's here or something
as a thought. I mean, why not take advantage of it? But
yeah. And Ocho Cinco could be like the spokesman or something.
But I'm sure Don Garber's probably too worried about making sure the Cosmos are the 20th team. Just my opinion.
I've not really heard much about them recently. It's kind of gone a bit quiet. Have you?
Well, apparently they have some great merchandise available.
What?
They are referred to by Mark Fishkin as the best fantasy soccer team in the world.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you buy a jersey, but whose name are you going to get in the back?
Well, that's the thing, is they brought in Eric Cantona.
Say Cantona.
Whatever. Cantona.
Cantona.
Whatever. To be their, director of soccer. Kobe Jones left the Galaxy to go be to work underneath him.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's just a big circus, isn't it? But there's no acts.
That's true. Speaking of acts, I'm going to do this. It's a crappy segue, but I'm going to do it. Let's take a quick second to say hello to Nick Lyons on Twitter.
Hey, Nick Lyons.
Nick Lyons says, you two need to watch the Portland Timbers home opener on Thursday. You will never see fans as passionate as the Timbers Army.
I'm pretty excited about that one.
Yes.
We will be watching that. What time? Will it be a late kickoff or what will... It's on Thursday.
Well, actually, we'll post... I'm trying to get better, and after each show at topoftetable.tv, we will immediately post this 10 p.m. Central. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that Jared Weaver?
Oh, that's my Kansas City boy.
There he is.
Hey. We tweet sometimes back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Hello, Jared.
Oh.
10 p.m. Central is that. This is the Timbers home opener.
See, that's late for Thursday night. I'm usually in bed by then.
Well, you got to figure that's 2 hours behind us, Pacific time. So that's an 8 p.m. start.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to try to post, I always, at topoftetable.tv, the show immediately goes up there. I'm going to try to find for you guys, I'm going to make a note to myself right now, the Portland Timbers have some of the best fan interaction and tifos in the world.
Yes!
And the Portland Timbers hate the Vancouver Whitecaps.
It's going to be pretty big.
And the Seattle Sounders. I'm going to make a note to myself.
I wonder, now let me ask you this, right?
Yes.
Can you multitask? Can you think and take notes?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you think soccer, that side of the kind of, Atlantic, is Pacific?
Pacific.
Close. is bigger than everywhere else?
I understand that the Atlantic Ocean is your reference for everything.
I know. I'm European.
Well, that is a big soccer community, and I think that's the part that I'm more excited about for the league than having a second New York team, is the fact that Seattle, Vancouver, and Portland are now here.
Mm-hmm.
They all hate each other. It's such a great rivalry.
They really do hate each other.
But I mean, like, in our point of reference for being FC Dallas fans, we don't like Houston.
Oh, Colorado.
Or Colorado beat us in the playoff game, and that's something to hold on to. But then we try to have the Brimstone Cup with Chicago. I mean, there's no real rivalries. You look at these three teams, and even when they were in Division II, they didn't like each other.
Right.
And now that they're here, because I know, I want to say it was Vancouver brought up some of their own D2 players to their team. And I think that's going to be a better rivalry. I'm very willing to say it could eclipse the I-95, the Philly-New York rivalry.
Oh, I think it's safe to say that. I really do.
That's a three-way dance for Ultra Liger right there. It's a hair versus hair versus career in a cage.
But how would you relate that to like American football rivalry? Like
Dallas and Washington.
Really?
Let's go Minnesota Green Bay.
Okay.
Let's go Al Davis versus any of his head coaches.
Well, you know what?
She won't get that. You guys will.
I don't get that. But why do you think soccer is so big there and it's struggling to take off in places like with Colorado? Why can they fill their stadium right off the get-go, and Colorado and Dallas are still struggling?
Well, we've discussed Dallas, the location of the stadium, but at the same time, there's no any part of a roof here.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever it's 105 degrees outside, at 6 o'clock, when you go to a game on a Saturday night, you don't want to sit out there.
Right.
When I was at the Home Depot Center, they were partially covered.
Really?
And Mark, the guy that I sat with, it rained for their home opener. I mean, came down, and he said 6 rows in front of them, they were bone dry. They sat there and had no problem. We've seen Red Bull Arena that's built more like a European stadium with the glass roofs.
But I don't know if I'm going to let weather be a factor, because coming from where I come from, Brian.
That doesn't count though.
Go ahead.
That people here don't share the same European, because you guys don't have American football, where you go sit in a dome when it's 20 degrees outside, unless you're in Minnesota and the roof collapses. But you're not going to go to Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Colorado and watch a soccer game when it's 35 and snowing.
Yeah.
Remember the was it a Champions League game that we went to here? No, it was a preseason game last year against Columbus with 3 inches of snow on the ground.
Oh my gosh!
How many people showed up? Roads were fine, but how many people showed up?
Probably 1,000, if So, do we have some chat room?
No, Jared's making a great point. Some of the teams have been around for decades. Seattle's been around since '74. Sure, for Portland, having only the Trailblazers around helps the team.
They've had a fan base for a long, long time.
Right.
Yeah.
But you also got to think at that D2 level, it's more of a grassroots. Like Jason Longshore in Atlanta, our friend from Atlanta, huge DC fan, also in Atlanta Silverbacks. I think he works in their front office now.
Really?
But he talks about that. Even Austin had the Aztecs. They were partially owned by a
guy from back home.
Guy from Sunderland, I think. No, Sunderland's owned by a guy here in Dallas. Stoke City owns the Austin team, and they couldn't drum up enough. They weren't drumming up enough tickets, so they moved to Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think for me, my opinion is, long-winded answer, Portland, Vancouver, Seattle, history, fan base, lower level, and they were able to move up, and now they're just getting recognized. People have been following Vancouver for,
But I also think...
following Seattle.
But I know they've been around for a long time, like we just said here in the chat room,
Right.
But I also think their marketing staff and their front office are doing fantastic jobs of raising awareness in the community.
The Portland Timbers marketing has been phenomenal.
Insane.
Phenomenal.
And don't forget, they've had a few people to copy off, and they're probably taking tips from Seattle, I'm sure.
Right.
You know? But I just think they're doing an awesome job.
But what they've done is, and I've even seen some of our followers with their Twitter avatars, they took pictures of people with the axe or with the chainsaws. Like, I'm part of the Army.
Love it.
And it's and I'll research to see if I can find the story, maybe post it on our website. But the Timbers took out a full-page ad on the paper, front of the page, and it was just an amalgam of all these snapshots.
Very cool.
And just said in the middle, "We are the Army," and you can see all these people that had had their picture taken in the studio. Now, what was Dallas's last year? What was their thing? We're not spectators.
We're not spectators. With a bald-headed guy going, "Ah."
Right. we're not criticizing Dallas. We're just saying this approach is going to work for Portland. And in this situation,
I want to talk to somebody from Portland.
Okay.
Do you?
Let's do this. Let's reach out to Nick Lyons.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to listen to somebody that's been there and going through it. Because I'm pretty fascinated. Are you? Like. Yeah. Great job.
I mean, Kenny Cooper's there, and we've discussed that decision-making process that led him to there.
Yeah.
But